Yeah, that Anthropic ad, the Super Bowl ad was crazy. It was such a call out. And then did you see the Sam Altman response on
I
X?
didn't see the Sam Altman response, no.
He pretty much was just kind of hitting back and saying, no, that's not how we're gonna do it. Like we know from the start, like we're not gonna have it like in the search results. Like that's never what we stood for. Unlike you guys who only stand for the rich people and making expensive subscriptions, we want AI to be accessible to everybody. And he's just kind of hitting them back, but there's a lot of people talking saying like, oh, he should have probably just let it go, roll with it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a big, so I feel like ads is a very broad term with the future of AI, and for Anthropic to kind of put their stick in the sand, like we're never going to do ads. I'm like, well, it's kind of tea because it's like at all, like that's kind of crazy to say that they're not, where in the future you just never know. And also like that was one thing about like I do ChatGPT in OpenAI and Sam Altman, like it will make it more cheaper and democratize access, even if it's not popping up like you mentioned, like in the actual responses, just on the sidebar, like banner ads, like we're all used to. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. When I watched the ad, I did think it was a little out of character for Anthropic, who are usually, I don't know, it didn't seem like it matched their vibe, but maybe they're changing things up a bit. We'll see.
That one was kind of funny. I also think the actors in it were a little stiff. Like they kind of portrayed AI's response as like not very like warm and that kind of like in more like AI. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But it will be interesting to see all the ads and everything that runs for Super Bowl. I know this is happening this weekend. We'll post this next week, but I'm always interested to see because I feel like last year AI and Super Bowl was big, but this year I feel like a lot of the words around it will be like AI, like leaning into the human side. Like this is already an example of this, but everyone's kind of over the AI and there's still a lot of marketing budgets that these AI companies have. So it'll be interesting to see how they all go at that
Yeah.
very the human way.
And it'll be interesting to see how companies are using AI in their ads, reflecting on what happened and what worked and didn't work last year. I know there was a lot of backlash last year for like Coca-Cola, for example, using AI in their ads, and a lot of other companies that were trying to utilize it to create ads, and it just flopped. People hated it for the most part. People thought, oh, this is it, people, this is what we want to see. So I'm curious to see if they listen to their audiences or if they still try to run with it this Super Bowl and continue on with the AI generated stuff. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see how it plays out. I feel like there's not going to be as many things because it's such a big moment. I feel like any corporate branding person knows that it's like a million meetings to like create one of these ads. I would be really surprised if they just like create some of AI and like throw it out there. I'm very surprised, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah. We'll see.
I think this is kind of going really perfectly into what we want to discuss this week around everything happening with Agentic AI, with OpenClaw, which was all the rage right now, basically. And I think you and I have had this discussion around Agentic AI has really been the biggest thing over the past like 6-8 months. But first of all, what even is Agentic AI? I feel like it's like being used as a branding term where it's like, hey, what even is it? And like, what are things happening right now and what's happening in the future of Agentic AI? And I think just to kind of go over real quick, like did a bunch of research into like what's happening with Agentic AI. And first, just to like get it all on the table, Agentic AI is really like systems that can act autonomously towards a goal rather than just responding to direct prompts. We've had AI chatbots and we had honestly automation for a long time now, but like what even is the big difference here? And I think it's AI actually being able to work on its own and make its own decisions, which is interesting. Obviously, we'll have to talk a lot about what are the implications of that, but I feel like trying to just getting it on the table, like what even is agentic AI? And then my question for you is kind of maybe so like over this past week, over this past couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of new things happening with agentic AI. Question for you is what are some of the most innovative agentic AI use cases or tools that you're seeing on the table right now?
Good question. And adding on to your definition of agentic AI, I would add it's not specialized chatbots. We have all these regular general chatbots, but there's also these really specialized ones. I would add that those aren't agentic either. Those are just a helpful AI tool. I think that we're seeing a lot of the confusion with agentic AI and is this agentic, is this not? Because a lot of companies are throwing out that word just willy-nilly all over the place. So I think that that's an important differentiator as well. But you asked about the most innovative uses of agentic AI, and I think we're going to see it completely transform the workflows within company structures. So I don't think we're going to see people sitting and talking to a chatbot and then using that output to create something. I think we're going to see more these AI orchestrators. We're going to see people that are their whole job is to orchestrate the systems that these agents run and almost like being the manager to their agents instead of being the person doing from thing to thing to thing. I think that we're going to see just this fundamental shift in how companies are ran and how the structure of these companies are. I think in addition to that, we're going to see pacing move at incredible speeds. One of the things that we haven't seen a ton in play yet, but I think is going to become really big this year is the fact that these AI agents don't sleep, and we're humans and we need sleep. We need lunch breaks occasionally. We have to go and socialize and get out of the office occasionally, even if you're doing, a crazy work schedule at a startup. So I think that that's going to speed things up dramatically and that work schedules will look different to incorporate the 24/7 nature of the agents. What do you think though?
Yeah, no, I think that's on point. I think we're seeing that a lot. I think first starting with the tools that are really all over the place right now. I know there was that big launch that we worked with the team with Super Agent at Airtable was I think an interesting tool, but also show of like kind of where agentic AI is at today, being really, really good at like research, analysis, kind of being on top of this fast moving information. I know we used it to go and research everything that happened in all the conversation on Davos and then compile it and be able to understand like what are our next steps here. I think they take a bunch of different agents in order to understand kind of what's going on in the broader state, like tons of agents at once. And I think agentic AI right now is really, really good at research, synthesizing, summarizing. And I think the biggest use case we're seeing. Additionally, obviously, this past week, everyone's talking about OpenClaw and how it's like your ability to like bring it onto your computer and have it be kind of a assistant and go and do things and start to make decisions on your behalf, which is, I think, the first time we're really starting to see that on a wider consumer base of having an agent actually do stuff for us. Yes, there's so many security implications around this. I feel like we're in like inning, like not even one, like inning zero. I didn't even want to download it on my computer. Like I thought about grabbing one of my old computers and like wiping it and then downloading onto it to use it because I mean, we all have like passwords and things that are already on our computers. We don't want it. It's just a security mess right now. So I think it's really hard to test it out and use it. But I think that it is like kind of cool to see like the beginning uses of how it's starting to work and helping us to understand like, oh my gosh, there's like so many cool things that are going to come next because of this. But even though this is just like totally V1, and I think that's why it's also had so much hype and so many downloads and so many people trying to test it out because we're like, wait, this is actually new and like the new step in AI. I think everyone's grandma is now using ChatGPT. Like it's kind of old news. And honestly, too, it's like 3 years old now, coming out in November of 2022. And so it's like, I think, honestly, timely that there's something new coming out around this agentic AI and having that personal assistant. So the question that comes up beyond there is, okay, this is like the status of it today. What's next? And what are the things that are going to be happening next? And I think it will be AI actually taking action on our behalf. And I think that's tough because it's can make mistakes, but the same on the same page as humans can make mistakes as well. But I think we're starting to turn the corner of us, as you mentioned, being orchestrators of a bunch of AI agents, which gets us thinking, oh my gosh, like what is the future of work as we're just going to be people who are managing a bunch of agents. I would love to kind of hear your thoughts around what does that look like? Like, how can we kind of paint our minds around if today is OpenClaw and 3-4 years from now, what is it going to look like as we're just basically managing teams of agents?
Yeah, it's a good point that we haven't seen this much yet, and so it's hard to wrap our minds around what is gonna be possible with it. It's something so outside of the box that we can't really think about all the use cases yet, but I think that especially you've been talking about OpenClaw, I think we could throw in there Claude Cowork is kinda doing the same thing, but a little more safe. Um, I think that we're going to see it widespread use, not just for work, but just for personal life. One of the Claude Cowork tutorials that's out right now, the guy, you've probably seen it, the guy goes through and says, "Hey, here's all my receipts for my purchases. Can you organize them, rename them?" All that kind of thing. I think we'll see it in personal use. I think we'll see it become a huge thing for just how households are run. I'm talking about like taxes, like AI agents to help you do your taxes that can pull your sources and answer the questions, and it just gives you a couple of things and then you send it off and you're done. I think we'll see it used in medical field all the time. I think we're gonna see in the work spaces, I think that it's going to be so prevalent that, hiring is going to look fundamentally different. We're not gonna see entry-level jobs anymore. We're not gonna see, uh, definitely not people anymore that are going to be doing a whole lot of coding or software programming. We're gonna see whole new types of jobs coming out that are AI orchestrators, AI supervisors, AI system designers. It's going to be similar to the operations side of things, but with a focus on how to help the agents work together, how to ensure the agents are going from like source to source appropriately. Where is the important steps for humans to come in and be a touch point, and where is it not necessary for humans to be a touch point? Where are those bottlenecks? All these types of questions that we're going to really have to figure out and be constantly iterating to, kind of nail it. But I think it's going to be ever changing for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree with all those points. I think it will just redefine how we do anything. Like you and I were discussing some processes that we're trying to like basically throw at AI agents out because we do the same thing every single week. And I think AI agents will allow us to basically not do anything again, ever
Mhm.
again. Like I think humans will do a lot of things once and then they'll say, okay, AI agent, you have persistent learning. You've seen what I've done on a computer for the past week. And like from step A, when we discussed it on a call, after the call, email follow-ups. And then I went and used a chatbot to go kind of help me out. And then went here. And it's going to have memory of everything on your computer, the whole process. And you basically can just like chat to it, like be like, oh, hey, okay, I did that process actually. Made me a whole system so that next week it's all done and it says done. And then basically you can just run it. It's going to be something like that where you can do things once. Because I think AI still is not good at doing things fundamentally the first time and like being innovative because AI is trained. Artificial intelligence is just trained on things in the past, whether it's the internet or whether it's automation. So I think as humans, we'll still continue being the first thing to do it. But I think AI will become closer and closer to be able to catch up in the process of what we just did. And then from there, being able to give recommendations on even tweaks on how to do the process better. So we did it this way. They know the outcome that you want when they can do the intercepts better or actually have more ideas or come up with more things or do more pieces of content and really came up with one. So I think there will be some like self-generation within the process of the strategy, but they're not going to come out with the end on its own. You get to prompt it or kind of come up with those ideas on your own, which I think that's where humans live in the future of work. I think that's kind of how AI will help us to achieve our goals over time and what even the future of work means. And I
Mhm.
guess kind of on top of that is we're discussing our own individual work and how agentic AI plays into that. But my question beyond that is most of work today is not individual and siloed. It's teams in full organizations. So I kind of would like to hear from you within teams or larger companies, what will like the new organizational structures or models, how will they leverage AI or how will they even be made up in the future?
Mm. That's a good question. I think realistically, we're going to see fewer humans within the hierarchy, but that doesn't mean that we're losing jobs. And I want to clarify that point that I don't think we're going to have mass millions of people without jobs. I think the jobs are going to look different. But within the structure of a company, I do think that we will see more AI percentage-wise and less humans percentage-wise with a more managerial structure. So we'll see those human managers managing a team of AI agents that are working with one another, reporting back to that human who then talks to the humans. So I don't think we will have, just because of the confusion and like for clarity purposes, I don't think we're going to have like one human talking to this person's AI team and then this human talking to this person's. I think that the direct reporting from team to the person that's managing that team of AI agents, I think that's going to be really important to keep that. And then we'll leave the collaboration still to the humans, human to human, when it comes to those really critical key decisions, those key creativity items, and those things that the AI are they're not as capable of. So I think that we'll kind of see more of a balance in human and robot. But I do think that we'll see removal of a lot of those lower level, entry level jobs. But in addition to that, some more mid level and high level jobs opening up because of what this frees us up to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. We're not going to be hopping on calls and talking to someone's AI agent. Like, I definitely agree on that point. I think we'll still continue like having each person have their team of agents basically like embedded onto your own computers. I think the future of computers and any sort of devices are going to be like really AI based that like know you and just because we all do the same things. Like humans in work is very repetitive. I think there's an amazing capability for AI to come in and basically automate a lot of it because we are so repetitive. And so I think, first of all, like work as we know will just look a lot different. Like the work in the past was a full week spent on writing a blog. The work in the future is basically just more of manager of agents. And then the teams will be managing each other and then doing a lot more. But then the agents will be optimized for other agents surfing the web for information. Like we're gonna the web and how the company interacts with the full industry, I think will be optimized a ton. Like there's all this discussion around AEO right now and optimizing for LLMs. And I think that's going to be an even bigger thing as these agents are going out on our behalfs, doing research and synthesizing information. I think that's going to be a huge way that organizations are going to be structured internally, especially on the tech side. And then I think we're going to have a lot flatter of organizations as well. In the past, we had, interns and then entry level position and then mid-level managers, mid-level, execs, CEO. And I think it's going to be so much leaner. I mean, we saw that with the whole restructuring of Twitter. And I think it was like this big trend for other companies to come in and do the same thing. And now startups are just lean as can be because in the past, it would take so much longer to do anything else. And now it's way easier to use AI, way cheaper. So I think we're seeing that from the enterprise level of all these layoffs, being in Seattle and, SF, all these layoffs of basically firing middle managers and making the teams a lot leaner. I do think there is firing right now because of AI, but I just think it's not because we're having less jobs. I think there's just restructuring of organizations and the opportunity in the market. And so sure, a big tech company is leaner and fired many middle managers, but those middle managers have gone out and made AI companies and hired folks here and there, but then have been able to do more and more work thanks to AI. And the people who are able to kind of connect with other people and do more work and build agencies. So I do think there is the same amount of jobs in the market, but the work is just so much different. But that's nothing new with any tech revolution. There's always a restructuring of companies and work. My question for you, Katie, is this AI evolution different in any way than other tech evolutions when it comes to jobs and hiring thanks to agentic AI? Or is it like, no, manufacturing, there was layoffs, from farms to the day jobs, there was layoffs. Is the agentic AI make hiring or work actually different?
That's the question everyone's asking, right? I think in the end, I would say the same. It's a more complicated process to get to the same endpoint. We've seen, with the Industrial Revolution, the restructuring of what work and the economy looked like was huge and massive. It's happened when we invented the ability to harness animals, to farm land. It's happened through all these different stages in humanity, and it always has come out on the same endpoint that jobs look different, but there's jobs. There's always work to be done. Humans will always find new ways to innovate, new ways to be creative, new ways to create new things and to continue to evolve our society. I think this is just the next step in all of that evolution. I do think it's a more complicated version of what's happened before. I mean, AI is inherently way more complicated than a tractor, but it's going to have, I think, the same endpoint. It's going to look the same. We're just restructuring. It's growing pains. It's always hard, to have that growth spurt to figure out, oh, okay, where does this all fit in? How does this all belong? And it's not super fun when you're in the thick of it, but coming out on the other side, I think ultimately always ends up in the positive. We're humans, we're meant to innovate and learn and grow, and we're just going to continue to do so. That's
Yeah.
what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the biggest thing anyone can do right now is to stay on top of these process, be the one that's testing out the new tools, doing the new things and showing it off on everything that you're learning and using for your teams. Because I think if you're staying on top of it, you'll always be fine. I think that's a very piece of advice that's true for any tech revolution, is just staying on top of it, and using it to your advantage. There has never been a better time to use these tools to become a better worker, a better advocate for yourself on social media for your jobs. I think it's just such a great technology. If you use it right, you can do a whole lot.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely agree. It's gonna be a wild ride, but I'm excited to care for it.
Yeah, sure. I think we'll have more of those Molt books and interesting things popping up. It's just the beginning of this all. I think I'm the most excited to see how this starts to affect the work as we know and the internet as we know and just how everything works. I really feel like this is such a turning point for technology and humans and work. So I think it'll be interesting to see, because if this is 2026 and ChatGPT is 2022, what is it going to look like in 4 years from now?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be curious to see. But humans always come out. We're gonna be great.
Yeah, interesting.